Hi all. So apologies for not releasing this video earlier, but unfortunately I had a bit of a disaster at work and I've had to go in and work nights. I'm actually on my way home from nights now at 12:30 on a, what day is it now, Tuesday, but I got called in on nights on Sunday, so apologies that I haven't been able to do my video earlier. I'm sure it's not really the highlight of your week, and I'm sure you're not really sitting there at your laptops or your phones patiently waiting to hear my opinion, but you know, apologies anyway for anyone who kind of does like to see them as early as I do them. So you've probably watched everybody else's opinions and heard what everybody else has had to say, and I guess I haven't really got too much to add. You know, to be honest with you, what can you say about that performance apart from, wow, fantastic? You know, how gutting is it that when something like that happens, when we get a result like that against a team like that, you know, at an away ground, there's no fans in the bloody ground to cheer it on and see it happen, and watch the salty faces on the poor old Man United fans. How gutting is that? But then it's bloody typical, isn't it, that was going to happen. But wow, you know, what a fantastic result. Exactly what we need. And you know, it builds confidence going into the international break. I mean, how many times have we talked about having an international break and hoping that that's going to give us a chance to recuperate, ready for the next part of the season, and it coming at a good time for us. Well, this time it's coming at a bad time for us because we're flying at the moment, scoring goals for fun. You know, 5 against Southampton and 7 against Maccabi, and you know, then the 6 against Man United. I mean, you can't really ask for more, can you, to be fair? So, you know, poor old boring Jose's football, you know, we're really starved of it. And Harry Kane's not going to score any goals under Jose's tutorship, is he? For sure. But, you know, in all seriousness, the team's just growing and growing at the moment. And who would have thought that, you know, the additions that we've brought in has made such a difference. Such a difference. And I know we've been crying out for it as Tottenham fans. We've been crying out for it for God knows how long. You know, Pochettino was crying out for it and everything. The point I would make about Poch is, you know, he did get the players he asked for. He did get Ndombele. He did get Sessegnon. You know, those were players that he asked for. Aurier. You know, these were the players that he asked for. And it's not really, or at that time, it didn't really work out. But Ndombele is now starting to come good. I think, you know, a little spell out of the team, and you know, maybe some strong words from Jose and the coaching staff. Maybe that's had the effect. Maybe when we saw it in the all or nothing thing, you know, him going and speaking to Daniel Levy and Daniel Levy giving him a bit of "we believe in you" kind of pep talk. Maybe that was, you know, helpful and made him feel that he was valued. You know. Maybe he just needed a little bit of time, but boy, is the guy flying now, you know. I mean, he looks sharp, he looks lean, he looks on fire, you know. He looks like he's got to grips with it and played exceptionally well. And to be fair, when you look at him and then you look at Lo Celso and how well Lo Celso's playing, I mean, the other day against was it Maccabi? You know, I thought he was exceptional. I thought he had a fantastic game. You know, there was one chance where he kind of run across the player and slid in and nicked the ball and ran the length of the pitch and fired it wide, which was gutting, because if he'd have scored it'd have been a fantastic goal, you know. And I guess, you know, I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit now, but I also think Aurier had a fantastic game, you know, and that's difficult for me to say because I've really not been his fan, you know, really not been a fan of his, because, you know, he is an accident waiting to happen a lot of the time. He's rash, he does dive in, and we all know how much Man United love a penalty. And I was a little bit worried about him being there. I felt that Doherty had a little bit more stability, but again, you know, there's lots of games thick and fast, and I think he's managed the squad really, really well. And if you look at it overall, what a fantastic period it's been for us. But yeah, I mean, looking at the game, I thought it was, as I said, thought it was a fantastic game. To be fair to Man United, I thought they made a game of it. I thought they played okay. I don't think they were that shit. Their defence was shit. They got caught out. I mean, Kane and Son together. I mean, what a partnership that's turning into now. I mean, Kane's overall game is just fantastic. I mean, I love, and I've always said it, that he brings so much more to the team than just his goal scoring, and his goal scoring is exceptional. But he does, when he comes deep like he has, he can pick a pass, his assists and stuff like that. He sees things, he defends well. I mean, he's all round. I mean, he's a all-round fantastic player. He's totally underrated and disrespected by football people, I think. And one day I think they'll live to rue that. I really, really do. I know you can judge a player by the titles and the silverware they've won. But at the same time, you've got to look at the player and his ability. No one says, Alan Shearer won all that because he only won one Premiership, do they? They say he's the greatest goal scorer that the Premier League's had so far. So, let's not go down that road. In exactly the same way, you wouldn't say that Graham Souness was a fantastic player because of everything he won. I mean, the bloke's an absolute nightmare, isn't he? Let's be fair. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I thought Kane, his vision, Sonny with his running and his accuracy with his shooting, they're just flying at the moment. Aurier coming good, and Dembele coming good, and then you add to that, you've got the new kiddie, I'm not sad to say this right, but I'm going to just say Reguilon. Again, fantastic game, played really, 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 really well. Got himself in there and full of running, full of pace, exactly what we needed, and you can't complain, you can't complain at all on that performance. Maybe a little bit around defensively, a little bit of naivety from Sanchez, that early in the game to give away a penalty, but then we knew that was coming because they always have a penalty. But it is what it is. I don't think we can not talk about Lamela. Everybody else seems to have, and I'm sure there's other people with lots and lots of different opinions and everything else, right? So I'm going to put it this way. Do I like what he did? No. Do I think it's the right thing in today's game? Probably. It is what it is, isn't it, right? So we know that he likes to do a little bit of shithousery. We know that he likes to wind players up. We know that he has that in his game, right? Same as Dele had. Dele had a lot of that, and I think that's one of the issues with him, is that he hasn't got that at the moment. But let's be fair, they're all up against each other, and as normal, in the penalty area, there's a little bit of pushing and shoving and all the rest of it. So Martial pushes him, he shoves him off with his arm. Martial then slaps him in the face, raises his arm, bosh. Now, if Lamela didn't go down, would the ref have done anything about that? No, because he wouldn't have seen it, he wouldn't have known, and he wouldn't have taken any notice. But because Lamela went down, the referee had to think about it, he had to look at it, he had to consider it. And you cannot, in the laws of the game, raise your hand and smack another player in the face. End of. So whether he deserved to get a smack in the face, whether he overplayed it, it's immaterial. Martial shouldn't have done what he did, and if he hadn't have done it, he would have got sent off, and maybe the score might have been less embarrassing for him. Maybe not. Would he have made that much of a difference? Maybe not. But then you've also got to look at the overall picture of what about the stamp on Kane. Now, had Kane rolled around the floor and got the medical staff on and all the rest of it and really made a fuss of it, maybe the referee would have looked at that in a different light. Because for me, that was a deliberate stamp. He stamped on his Achilles, he raked his boot on him with his studs, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he deserved to be sent off for it. in my opinion. I might be wrong. And then you look at the Luke Shaw scenario where he literally hacks Lucas Moura down. And I think if that had been the other way round, it'd have been off. I do not understand why the ref did not send him off. That is a professional foul. It's a dangerous tackle. It's a red card. End of. But at the end of the day, did it matter to us? No. So, you know, but had that been a relegation game, or had Man United be going up against a team in relegation that could do with a weakened team and all the rest of it, there's consequences to those decisions, right? But for us, it's not a big deal. But say, overall, you know, great result, gets us right in the driving seat, and shows us, you know, how disappointing the draw against Newcastle was, because actually, you know, we'd have been in a lot better position. I understood, and I haven't checked it, that we'd have been something like second. So, you know, against the team that beat us. So, you know, you kind of think, well, you know, maybe our luck's changing, you know, for the better. But certainly this team is looking very strong. When you put the players up on the screen and you look at the depth, you think actually now there is real depth in that squad. We're not on a shoestring, and with some of the players that have not been performing as well as we would have liked them to now performing better, you think, well, actually we do look a decent outfit, and long may it continue. So, you know, we've got some good signings in, and don't forget we haven't even seen Gareth Bale yet. You know, what kind of dimension is he going to bring to the team? You know, and maybe just him being there is enough to bring some life into it. You know, and of course, if we can get Dele playing anywhere near his best, and I really do believe that he has a future with Tottenham, I really do. Then, you know, you're starting to build one hell of a squad. You've got, you know, now you've got one of the best training facilities in the world. You've got one of the best stadiums in the world. You've got arguably one of the best, certainly most decorated managers in the modern game, you know, at the club. You've got one of the world's best strikers. You know, you've got a 4-time Champions League winner. You've got bright prospects, you know, and of course you've got fantastic fans as well. So, you know, what else could we ask for apart from a bloody trophy? So that's next on the list, right? Let's get a trophy. Let's start the ball rolling. Let's start some domination. Let's start getting to a point where we can start getting players in, replacing players that are leaving, and start building for the future. And let's hope that Jose stays committed, that he does get the best out of these players, and it, you know, it ends up as a match made in heaven rather than a match made in hell. And I'll shout it out again, and I've said this before, I don't think that Daniel Levy spends this money if it isn't for Jose. I think he's wanted Jose Mourinho to be the manager for such a long time. I think he rates him, he respects him, he knows what he's done in the game, whether we agree with it or not, and there are people out there that don't agree with it, and I'm not saying that I was really wanted Jose Mourinho as our manager, but he is, so I'll support him. But ultimately, I don't think that Levy spends that money with any other manager apart from maybe Guardiola. I don't think he spends it. And to be fair, it's not mega money because they've done some quite shrewd deals. You know, oh yeah, I mean, I forgot, we got the new lad, the new striker, you know. So if Kane inevitably gets injured, or Sonny inevitably gets injured, or they need a rest or whatever, fingers crossed, this is the guy that's going to come in and put to bed all the issues that we've had with you know, your Soldados and your Janssens and your Adebayors and all this kind of stuff. Maybe this is the guy that's going to come in and do the business for us. You know, I sincerely hope so. And for the money they've paid, it's a real deal that you can't really go against, can you? So, you know, we're starting to look like we've got every position covered that we really wanted, apart from maybe a central defender would have been nice. But are we being greedy? You know, as much as he gets the flack, we've got Dyer, we've got Sanchez, we've got Tanganga, we've got Alderweireld, you know, we've got Davies who can slot in. We can go to a 3, you know. So there are options. It's not like Jose hasn't got options in that area. But I'm sure he'll have eyes on something, and I'm sure come January we'll be looking at something else, because Mourinho will always be looking to improve that squad and looking to keep one step ahead of everybody else. So the future's bright, the future's lily white, as they say. Up the Spurs.